P2P framework is it involves internal positioning, external, and activation. And the feedback that we got was very indicative of we are really zeroing in on what would benefit you all the most. So here we go, just a bit more of internal positioning because it's so important and the benefit is so big here. One of the things to keep in mind is, as I talked about in the last video, is that sometimes people will sell their solution, whether it's a product or service, based on logic and not based on emotion. So there's a big opportunity there for you to take a look at the marketing that you're doing or the sales approach that you're taking and ask yourself, is it logical? Is it too heady? Am I not infusing enough of the emotional aspect? Because we know that the brain triggers all have to do with emotion when we make that decision to buy. It is really based on emotion. So for this video, we're talking about authority positioning and what it is. What is authority positioning really? And it's basically, it really helps entrepreneurs to leverage their knowledge. So the knowledge that you have, leverage it in a way that you can not only gain the know, like, and trust factor, but also it's an elevation of your status. And we know that status is meaningful. Status is a thing why, for example, when I travel and I'm in a new town or a new city, I'll look at my Yelp app. How many times have you done this? To select somewhere to go to dinner, and I really base my decision based on reviews. Right? So that's giving that status to the restaurant or the eating establishment that I choose or I'm picking. Or even if you're buying whatever it is that you're buying on Amazon, something like that, you're looking at that as an indicator of the experience that you're going to have. So when you have that authority status, when you've established that authority status, it really helps to cement in the confidence in the prospect's mind that you are a credible go-to. So let me put it to you another way. Remember the story of the two doctors? And I had said that, for example, the one doctor, the general practitioner, was $80 a visit. The other doctor was $800 a visit. Well, he had more authority status. He had more of that cachet that made me pay 10x the price in Manhattan on Fifth Avenue to go and visit him. And then the other side of it is, well, he's Gwyneth Paltrow's doctor, so surely he's better. So that's the kind of thing that builds authority status. So the other thing that builds authority status, of course, is the confidence and certainty that you are indeed an expert. So ask yourself, again, a pulse check through this entire boot camp. My intention behind this, to set the intention, is to get you thinking, taking an analysis, a pulse check of your business to say, am I showing up in this way? Where is there opportunities, right, where I can close the gap? And one of the things is this level of expertise. So when you hone in on what it is that you're going to offer, when you hone in on who you want to serve, and we'll be talking about more of the external positioning elements in the coming days, which is super exciting. And then you top it off with that expert status and certainty and confidence that you have, that's going to be dramatically important for you to connect the dots with your prospect. And also really highlighting the differentiation of how you can help. So for example, the P2P framework and the way that I talk about positioning, I am fairly certain you're not hearing it out in the marketplace. And what it does at the same time is what I call a checkmate move, is where you're creating this doubt, like, wait a minute, I haven't heard too much about positioning. I do need that, because the brain likes new, the brain likes easy. As you can see, the style in which I'm presenting these concepts is very easy, approachable, and I'm infusing it with story. And then also it's new. It's a new concept. Yes, you've heard of it, but I'm saying things in a new way. So really highlight what it is that makes you different and look at your competition, because that competition is, they're saying it one way, you can say it another. We'll go more into that. Understand that expert positioning and the ability to tell your story is really going to help to concretize in the mind of your premium prospect that you are the go-to, that you are vetted, that you know what you're speaking of, that you're coming from a place of certainty. So one of the things that's really helpful is when you have these social proof points, right? So on your website, two people, let's say I'm looking at two different accountants. One accountant's a super nice guy and he's really great and he obviously knows what he's doing because he is a CPA, but I may go to somebody else who is also a CPA, but the credibility factors come into play. Let's say he has, he's written a book and he has been interviewed on different podcasts and he has a show on cable and he's been a featured guest article writer in different publications. So these are all different proof points that add to that status. And that's really important. So that doesn't mean you have to have all of these, but just to start to get the wheels spinning around what you can be doing in your business and really leveraging these instances so that it elevates the status and the authority positioning. So how do you do that also? How to establish an authority status is by providing useful information to your premium prospects. So you have to know what it is you're talking about, creating a method to the madness. So, and then of course you want to be able to solve a problem. If your solution is a nice to have, it's not a priority in order for somebody to invest. But if it's really solving a problem, that's where you get people's attention, right? You get people's attention. It's addressing a need that they have, And also, when you are an established authority, you're also simultaneously becoming an advocate for your premium prospect success. You're saying to them, I can lead you to where you want to go. Follow me, right? I can help guide you. I can help get you to the promised land. I also say, I'm like, you are the Yoda. You're the one that can help people with that journey. So for entrepreneurs like you and I, authority and expertise increases the perceived value, right? If you see all these social proof points, for example, or you see that there's an art and a science to the way that I'm creating things, do you see how it increases the perceived value? It becomes something different that I'm talking about that nobody else is talking about. So you should have that for yourself as well. Because what happens is when you have increased perceived value, you can actually charge higher prices. Remember, I think it was on the first day, say no to the price war game. We don't want to do that. We are not setting the bar according to what the market will bear. That is a horrible place to be, is in the middle. That's so uneventful. And so the idea here is you want to increase the perceived value so that you can charge higher prices. So it goes hand in hand. And people will pay it because it's such a great way to say, listen, I have all this experience and I've done this and that and blah, blah, blah. And and I kind of brought it to the example of how when people are interested to work with me, one of the first things that they look at is my LinkedIn profile. So that LinkedIn profile talks about the different things. So you don't have to be on CNN or Fox News or anything like that. Yes, if you can, that's awesome. You don't have to be on Oprah for the Oprah effect. I mean, that's few and far between the people that have the ability to do that. But what you can do is cement that status and social proof with testimonials on LinkedIn, with the kind of things that we're going to validate the work that people have experienced with you, with testimonials. These are all elements that increase your social proof. So these are things that, ask yourself, in the assets that you have, are you highlighting these opportunities? If you're working with people on different projects, are you stopping to say, when they say, oh my gosh, this experience was so amazing, are you stopping to say, can I get that in a video testimonial? That'd be amazing. Because a video testimonial is a video testimonial is optimal. Then a written testimonial, right, is okay too. But in between that, I would say having a testimonial on social media, for example, on Facebook, that then you can clip so it looks like it's official coming from their profile. So these are the different ways that you can increase your perceived value. Because then what happens is that people raise their hand and they say, okay, I want to work with Jane because, wow, this is amazing. She clearly has expertise. She's clearly been able to give results or achieve results, with her clients. And so that elevates the confidence that the person has in wanting to work with you. So look back at your assets. Do you have these authority positioning elements? And again, you don't have to think it's daunting like, oh, well, come on, I don't have a book yet. But that's okay. Do you have testimonials? Right? Do you have testimonials? Are you asking for testimonials on your LinkedIn? These are the things that, even if it doesn't necessarily relate right now to the work that you're doing, you still have probably a work history that you can leverage and ask people for testimonials. Just as a little sidebar here, I took a LinkedIn class quite a while back, and they said that the average person only gets at the most 7 testimonials on LinkedIn. And if you have at least 10, that helps actually in the ranking of when somebody does a search. So say, for example, you're a life coach. If you're a life coach and you have a tremendous amount of testimonials, over 10, that helps, I guess, the algorithm or the data criteria for you ranking in the search. So I thought that was a really great tidbit. So start that way. Start with these little points that you can do, like start asking for testimonials. Be really intentional about putting those things out there so that you can elevate your authority status. Because the number one thing that will stop you with your success is, well, one of the key things is, I have this saying, and I've learned from my mentor, and just this realization after I've synthesized through my own life experience, that your business results will always meet your identity every time, no matter what. So if in your heart, if you don't have the identity of somebody that can be an expert, then you have to take care of that, because you're going to sabotage with the different things that you do, and your business results will fall, and it will always meet where your identity is. So if you're someone who's like, well, who am I to do that? I promise you're not going to get to the levels of success, because it's not congruent. So this is the other aspect of the internal positioning, is that we have a tendency to overthink. We have a tendency to, who am I, and what if this doesn't work, and fear of failure, fear of judgment, all these little things. So really be cognizant and catch yourself when you're doing that. And my question is, when I work with my clients, is like, what could it look like if I really harness that prolific persona, right? AKA the alter ego. And who would that person be? The person that is successful, the person who is confident, the person who is clear about their message, the person who has courage to step out and show up and doing doing videos and doing these things to put themselves out there when other people are choosing not to. It takes that special kind of person. So I have to tell you, the identity side of things and the things that we talk about in internal positioning helps to establish the authority positioning along with these other elements that I'm talking about. So what is your takeaway for this quick lesson about authority positioning? Take inventory. What did you learn today that you can quickly apply and infuse that authority positioning to elevate the status, to elevate the perceived value? That is huge. The perceived value, as I mentioned, equates to the ability for you to charge higher prices. Because again, remember that doctor from Manhattan that I paid a 10x amount higher than just going to my GP. I mean, it literally happened. I was blown away. But I got cucumber water. That was good. So now you know more about authority positioning and really understanding these elements to increase the perceived value so that you can be seen as that go-to when people get to that level where they know, like, and trust you and they want to do business with you.